Hey there Retro Games fans, this week we're going to be looking at a game on the original Xbox as part of my Month With series. So I've been living with the original Xbox in my living room for the last, 3 weeks now I suppose. So yes, we're going to be having a look at Blinx the Timesweeper. So just to give you a little bit of context about the game, Microsoft at the point at which they launched the Xbox really wanted a mascot. I mean, they had a mascot. No, not you. Go away. That's a mascot that nobody ever needs to see again. You've got mascots across all of your platforms, right? You know, we've got our Marios, we've got our Sonics, we've got our Ratchet and Clanks, or Jak and Daxter, probably more famously on the PlayStation. You know, they're really iconic, sort of cartoon-like characters that really people associate with the console. So Microsoft wanted to do the same thing. They'd obviously got Halo, which came out when the Xbox launched, but they didn't really want a Halo character as their sort of avatar for the Xbox, as their mascot for the Xbox. Now, in subsequent years, I think that's been largely accepted, and I think most people would see a Halo character and associate with Xbox immediately, and that has become somewhat of a mascot. But there was a time when they were looking to do something a bit different, and so they came up with a game called Blinx the Timesweeper, and Blinx the Cat was really, I think, in their minds as being the de facto mascot for the Xbox. The game itself, very similar sort of gameplay to the likes of Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, you know, all of those sorts of platformer games. It's the self-styled world's first 4D action shooter. And the reason it's called 4D action shooter is because part of what you do within the game is to actually control time. So you've got several moves that you can make. You collect little sort of as little collectibles as you go around, and you'll see this in the gameplay in a moment. And they do things like they allow you to rewind, fast forward, do slow or pause. And they're really, really useful features that help you to defeat particularly difficult bosses, or there might be only bits that you can pass by using some of those time controls. So that's a sort of game. In terms of reception of the game, it was very mixed, and I wanted to go back and have another look at it because, again, as many of you know, I didn't own an original Xbox, so I kind of dismissed this game, and we all said at the time, all the PlayStation fanboys all said at the time, you know, this is an attempt at sort of doing your own Jak and Daxter or your own Ratchet and Clank or whatever it happened to be. And I think they were probably right. I think we were probably right, but I think we were wrong to dismiss it out of hand. The Xbox console owners at the time were very excited about this game. I remember chatting with them. They were saying this is going to be the next big thing. I don't think that ever really happened. They only ever made one sequel to it. And I've had a bit of a play with it, and I want to let you know what I think. So I will show you some gameplay, and then I will tell you at the end what I thought about the game. I appreciate this is going to be a little bit of a niche video, because Blinx the Timesweeper was probably not the most well-known game on the Xbox. It is a game that I remember. Like I said, never really played it, yeah. And the other thing I suppose to bear in mind just before we kind of duck over into the gameplay is that this was also Microsoft's attempt to break into the Japanese market. So they had a real hard time with the Xbox. I think they still do, to be honest with you. A real hard time breaking into the market in Japan. They sold very few original Xboxes. This game was developed by a Japanese studio for Microsoft, a house called Artoon. Came out, as I mentioned, in 2002, and it really was an attempt to try and attract a slightly different market. It didn't work, unfortunately, and like I said, the reviews were very mixed. So we had some people that really liked it. I think it was very kind of love-hate sort of thing. Some people thought it was too difficult. Some people thought it didn't make any sense, but some people did really enjoy it. So I'll stop talking now. I'm going to go and basically just do a voiceover of some gameplay that I've already done. So in my last video, just to kind of give some context here, in my last video I talked about Zemu. Please do go check out my video on that if you're looking to do any Xbox emulation. It will hopefully get you started. One thing I found playing Blinx through my emulator on here is that it was a little bit it was a little bit on the slow side. So what I did was I basically played it on the Xbox Series X, and I recorded some footage which I've then sent. It was nice and easy, and I would just point out at this stage, I tried to do the same for Silent Hill 2. I was thinking about doing a Silent Hill 2 video on the PlayStation 5 and comparing it to the PS2 version. Trying to get videos off the PlayStation 5 was significantly more difficult. So I did if you're ever interested in doing this, I played the game, I recorded it, and it allowed me to record the last 5 minutes, and then I just put it on my OneDrive, which was really, really easy. So I'm just going to do some talk over little 5-minute clips, so probably about 3 of those, talk a little bit about the game as I play, and let you know at the end what I thought. So I'll stop. I said I'd stop talking about half an hour ago, so I'll stop talking now, get straight into the game, and yeah, let's talk through what I thought. Okay, so here we go. I think this is stage 2 that I've got recorded here. This is the problem. I recorded them and then I don't remember which order I put them in. But this, I think, is stage 2. I seem to recall that because there was snow. I think so that in the first one there wasn't. So you'll notice here what's happening with the monster. He just sort of shot the monster there. What he's doing is collecting essentially trash. You can collect anything. You can collect those benches, the little flower beds over there. You can collect those. You basically hoover them up, vacuum them up into your weapon, and that will allow you to then basically fire them back at the creatures that are around to try and destroy them. You'll also notice there that he collected 3 stars. So if you collect 3 of any of those little icons that are knocking around, it will give you some extra abilities. Lives essentially are like rewinds. So you can see hit there, I got killed by the monster. As soon as I did that, I sort of did a backwards rewind thing that took me back a few steps, and I was able to do it again. And I get 3 of those. If you collect, I think it's there are 3 hearts actually. If you collect 3 hearts, that will give you an extra rewind, essentially, an extra restart. This guy here is quite annoyingly difficult. I think this was in the early stages of me playing, and I hadn't seen him before. He's actually, once I realised what I had to do, he was actually quite straightforward. And actually, he's got that little sort of ball thing there that I can then collect and use to fire as well. When you're collecting the little icons, what will happen is if you collect sort of an odd number of them, so say for instance you collect a star, a moon, a heart, and something else, you get like a bad combo, and it doesn't really do anything at all. So you have to be a little bit strategic in how you're collecting those parts. I'm going to use a slow now. Oh, I'm going to use a pause actually. I'm going to use a pause. So you see, there we go. That's using the time thing there, and you've got a little countdown. That little orange bar there will tell us how long I've got left. That's quite useful when you get to the end of level bosses and things like that as well. This one wasn't particularly difficult, I might add. I think he only took a few hits. Let's see how I did on that one. You'll notice there's some gold pickups as well. So the gold ones are basically like monetary credit that you can use in the shop at the end there. He's going to disappear now. There he goes. Great stuff. So I assume that's probably going to be around about the end of the level now. Oh no, it isn't actually. There's a little bit more to do. So I'm going to go through one of these doors here. I'm going to open one of those doors. There we go, bad crystal combo, because I just collected a random pile of stuff. So once you get the hang of that, that's definitely a really good tip as well, is try to be a little bit strategic around what you need to collect. So if you need to collect a slow, or you need to collect a rewind or a pause, obviously you'll just want to avoid collecting anything else. You can collect 3 of one thing and 1 of another, and you'll get 1. I think if you collect 4, you get a little bit more. So there we go. So let's just watch the gameplay for a little bit longer. I do love the soundtrack in this game actually. I think it's quite good. Oh yeah, so we're still getting tips here on what to do. actually played it before. I cancelled it when I played, so I can't actually remember what it was I was supposed to do. Yeah, I can collect five bits of trash. Again, another bad combo there. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Jump on the button. There you go. Go on, do it. Oh yes, there's these secret cat medals that are dotted around the place. Some of them are really hard to get to. You can see them. I mean, it's like any of these sort of hidden extras. You find them on the map, and then I'm not entirely sure what it is you're supposed to do with them to get to them. Sorry, so I was concentrating and trying to talk at the same time. That didn't really work out. There we go. So I've opened that door on the right-hand side now. So I'm going to go up here, and then I think I've got to open the door on the left-hand side. So it's annoying because I've got 2 hearts, look, and I really would prefer to collect a whole set of something. So I avoided the blue moons there. Okay. Controls are pretty straightforward, actually. You know, it's not too difficult. You're sort of using the X key to vacuum up things, and then just tap the same button to fire them out. So that's not too bad to use. Yeah, you just sort of pop up a little menu if you want to use one of the power-ups. There we are. They're called retries actually, rather than rewinds. The retries you get through, they're basically lives. Yeah, you'll see in the next bit of gameplay what happens when you get killed by something. So let's have another look at another level. So I think this is stage 3 that we're looking at here. So quite far through this one at the moment. They're a little bit of a nuisance. He does auto-aim, which is kind of cool. There is a limit on what you can pick up as well. So I picked up the sort of concrete weight thing there. Later on in the game, you'll see some heavier ones which you can't pick up until you upgrade your vacuum weapon thing. Yes, those will, I assume you can come back and play the game later on as you've got a bit more power up and play it. Yes, I think I mentioned that you can only have 5 of those. I'll try and collect the little pink ones now. I think, did I fall down here? I might have done. But I think for a game that came out in 2002, I think it looks quite good. You know, I don't think it looks too bad at all. It's very playable. I think it's graphically quite nice. I quite like the lighting in it. Music's good. I didn't find the controls too tricky. I think when I first played it, I did find the controls a little on the tricky side. Oh yeah, I was just trying to avoid that exploding barrel and ended up down here. All the way back up to the top again now. Get a bit nervous with the barrels because you sort of feel like you need to use a power-up. But in reality, you probably don't. They're moving slow enough that you don't need to worry about it too much. I'm not even sure what was down there. Levels are quite varied. I mean, they seem to be, you know, there's a few little routes that you can take. Yeah, at this point I was just sort of trying to find my way to the end, which I think is just over. You can just about make it out over this other side there, which we'll get to in a second. Pretty much powered up, so try not to make the same mistake again. I wasn't quite sure, I think, on how to get to the other side, and I couldn't really tell whether I could get onto that wall or not, and I was a bit worried about the fact that I might get halfway across and then realise I couldn't get up, and then what would I do? But it was okay, as you will no doubt see in about 2 seconds. There you go. And those are the end of level sort of portal things. Time switch complete. It's going to get my D+ rank. Rubbish. No secrets found on this level. Yeah, not a lot. It's a bit of a ghost though then, not sure why that is. Yeah, I did struggle with this on the emulator, although this game worked okay. I mean, it was playable. I did try playing Fable, yeah, that was impossible. Right, so there we go. Oh, boss level. Okay, well, let's have a look at the boss. Have a quick look at the boss, and then we'll probably leave it there and go and have a bit of a chat at the game. And you can see, oh, actually there. So is that the first time you've seen me die? Yeah, so you have this sort of rewind. You've got the little hearts at the top there that tell you how many re-goes you've got. I'm going to use a pause here to try and help me. He was actually, for a first sort of major boss, I actually found this guy quite difficult, and I don't know whether I managed to actually finish it in the end. But yeah, he was quite tricky. And I think maybe that was one of the criticisms that people had talked about, was that it was quite hard. You know, for a first level boss, I think I had to have a good few goes at this. And it was a little bit frustrating. The sort of bounce around is quite unpredictable, and it was quite irritating. I'm sure there's a pattern. If you do it enough, I'm sure there's a pattern. Yeah, let's keep watching, because I think on this time, I think I'm going to run out of retries. That's the fast forward. I didn't find that all that helpful. I'm assuming later on in the game that will become, you know, make more sense. You get a little barrier, but obviously everything then moves really, really fast, which makes it really, really difficult to do anything about it. So your barrier stops you getting hurt, but it also doesn't really help you on setups like this where you've got to try and aim, and it's a little bit tricky because the guy's bouncing around, so he's then bouncing around a lot faster. How are we doing here so far? Just firing out more things for me to fire back at him. Oh, there we go. Was that the last one? No, I've got one more life left. One more retry. It's one more retry. There we go. Yeah, the camera seemed to work quite well. That was another thing as well. I didn't seem to battle with that too much. That wasn't too much of a hassle. Found that with a lot of games from this era. You sort of get weird camera angles going on, and yeah, a little bit of that in this one, especially with bosses. You get that. Oh, and he hit me anyway. I thought I got him, and then he hit me anyway. There we go. Let's go and talk about what I thought about this. So, what did you think of Artoon's Blinx the Timesweeper on the original Xbox? Yeah, what did you think? Did you think it looked good? Do you think it sounded good? I think it sounds good. I think it's got a great little soundtrack. I think it looks really good. I think compared to a lot of games, you know, contemporary games of the same era, I think it stands up pretty well, actually. And I think the mixed reviews, and some of those people that gave quite poor reviews, I think are possibly a little unfair. It is. I could definitely see how it could become repetitive. You know, I only played a few levels, so to be fair, you know, I haven't given it a really good shakedown. So I think probably from that point of view, there's a, you know, a very real chance that I might play a few more levels and actually get a bit bored with it. But yeah, I enjoyed those first few levels playing through. I think there would be some frustrations that would come in. That boss was quite frustrating at the end. There on that sort of fourth level, I think that might become quite tricky. But I think putting all of that to one side, you know, first impressions and playing for a few levels, I actually played through those first few levels, you know, in succession. I really enjoyed it. It's got a good save feature, so you can come back and play it again later. So yeah, I think all in all, I think it's a good game. I don't think it's an amazing game. I definitely think you should go check it out. If you've got an original Xbox, go check it out. If you happen to have a copy of it, you can lay your hands on a copy of it. Go check it out on the XEMU emulator, which I showed you last week. You know, if you want to go and have a look at how to get that set up, please do go and check that out. So yeah, definitely go and have a look at that. I think it is worth it. When you compare it to the likes of your Ratchet and Clanks and your Jak and Daxters and your Super Mario Sunshines and your Sonic Battles of the Sonic Adventure of the same era, do I think it's as good? No, I don't. I mean, honestly, hand on heart, I don't think it's as good. But I think those original games on their respective platforms, or those games on their respective platforms, were really, really exceptional games. Super Mario Sunshine, maybe notwithstanding. I'm gonna get hate for this. That's not a game that I massively enjoyed from the Mario collection. Maybe I found that game quite frustrating, but yeah, maybe I'm in the minority for that. But it isn't as good as some of its contemporaries, but it is good, and I don't think that's a reason for it to be considered to be bad. So yeah, I would go check it out. Good, like I say, good visuals, good music, nice concept. I quite like the concept of that. You know, it predates. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which had a sort of very similar idea of sort of controlling time. So I think you know, it's a little bit innovative, which is cool too. And I think maybe it's a bit of a shame that perhaps Blinx didn't make it as the mascot for the Xbox. Who knows? Maybe if they'd broken into Japan, if Microsoft had managed to break into Japan maybe things would have been different, but you know, it is what it is. That's how it's going to be. So I hope you enjoyed that. I appreciate that it's probably a bit more of an obscure game, and that was by design. I've been playing lots and lots of games on the Xbox. You know, I played a bit of Time Splitters 2 the other day. Really enjoyed that. I forgot how good a game that is. I've been playing Outrun 2, also an amazing game. Bit of Halo, bit of Fable, you know, all really good games. And I think I picked Blinx because because it's got a little bit of a backstory, but also because that was the original intent for this channel, was to pick some slightly more obscure, perhaps a little unloved games, and perhaps go and have a look and give them another shot and see what I think and see what you think. So that's why I picked Blinx, and I'm not expecting this to be a multi-thousand view video as a result of that, and I'm cool with it. So yes, if you're interested, definitely go check it out. Definitely well worth a look. So hope you found that useful. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on the channel then. So as always, there's barely a week that goes by when I don't say this, but I've got next racing challenge coming up, which is San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing for Retro Red Steve. So I'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks with my son Ollie. Everyone's very excited about this because I think it's supposed to be quite a good game, not one that I've played. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of a game. Well, I only had a bit of a story of the PlayStation 1. I only had the PlayStation 1 for a relatively short amount of time, and I didn't have a lot of races on it. So you'll hear me say this a lot. Oh, that sounds like a game that I've heard of, but not one that I've necessarily played. So that's coming up. We'll also obviously be doing the Xbox review itself, so that'll be next week. I can't believe a month's gone already. Can't believe this year's we're quarter of the way through already. So I will be doing the review of what that's been like to live with. Spoiler alert, I am going to be a little bit sad to bring it back in. Actually, I have quite enjoyed it. It's been quite nice to get and have a play on the Xbox, especially as somebody that never really played on it very much back in the day. I will be also playing some other games. So I've got a couple of pickups that I've just recently made from Retrosect over in Tewkesbury. So I've got Thunderhawk, which sounds like an amazing game, and if you look at the graphic on the back of there, it's flying helicopters, and as someone who grew up in the 80s, that's got Airwolf vibes about it, and there's no bad thing about that at all. Then I've got this double game, which is called Cobra. One side's Cobra Command, so Cobra Command, and the other side is Soul Feast, I think it is, Soul Feast. So I'm going to be digging the Mega CD out and having a play with those as well. I haven't really given that much of a play yet. And then finally, I'm also going to be talking a little bit about the OSSC that I've recently picked up. So this is basically a device that allows you to connect to your modern TV to an older console. It's an open source thing, so you basically, people are going to build them to spec, essentially. So there's lots of people that sell different sort of versions or variants of them. My good friend, the Evesham Gamer, go check out his videos. He has some really good reviews around OSSC and OSSC Pro, so go and have a look at those. I am going to do a little bit of a, how to connect your old consoles up vid. I've been learning a lot over these last 12 months, and there's quite a lot more to talk about around that than I was able to last time I did a video about it. So I'm going to do another little video for 2025 on how best to get your old consoles hooked up to your new televisions. So I will be doing that as well soon, and that will feature the OSSC and some other tech that I've bought subsequently, and my views on some tech that really hasn't gone as well as I would have liked. So that is all the stuff coming up. So lots of things coming up. I don't know when they'll just happen, or obviously it'll be an announcement of whatever the next console is for next month, which I've decided, but you'll find out next week. So yes, I think that's it for today. So if you enjoy these videos, you know what I'm going to say, right? Please do hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate the support. I mentioned last week I went over the 400 mark. Things have really slowed down a little bit in the new year. I don't know if that is a YouTube thing, whether my videos are just not as appealing as they once were. Maybe I need to have another thing. But yes, please do drop some comments and thoughts and ideas about any of my videos, or indeed the video I've done today, and your memories of Blinx, Timesweeper, and all that sort of thing. But yes, please do also hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. So that's it for today then. So I'll leave you to it. Thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.